I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Joe Jacobi. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
It is a good morning here in Seu Jane, Spain, where my family and I live. Couldn't be better.
Wow, I thought you were in Oklahoma City. Wow, so what time is it there right now? It's 6 a.m. here.
It is a little after 12 noon. And yes, I used to live in Oklahoma City when I was the chief executive officer of USA Canoe and Kayak, which is the national governing body for competitive canoeing in the United States. But I left that job about 3 years ago, and my family, my wife and 16-year-old daughter wanted to take on a family adventure, and we made the move to Seu Jane, Spain, which is the town 2 hours north of Barcelona that hosted the 1992 Olympic Whitewater canoeing competition, where my canoeing partner, Scott Strasball, and I won the first ever gold medal for the United States in whitewater canoeing. So here we are. Yes,
Wow.
it's exciting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations on that. All you've done, all you've achieved. You're definitely a young guy, right? And you're not stopping, aren't you?
Young at heart. I mean, I always think about and I get the sense, I've listened to many of your podcasts, and I sense that you're in the same kind of person this way. That I mean, we're not living if we're not learning, and I think finding new and different ways to learn is just such a key part of living a rewarding and happy life.
Yeah, which brings us to the coaching aspect of what you do, right? Teaching is a very big part of your life right now, isn't it?
Teaching is a big thing, but again, I think I'm only as valuable to my clients as I am as a student if I'm learning and figuring out new ways to put myself in positions of discomfort. And I think one of the things that we were looking for when we made the move over to Spain was, what's it like to wake up in a different bed, wake up and hear the sounds of a language you don't understand, and just to have that moment of, what am I doing here? And then have that moment of clarity and remember, yes, I came here to learn something new. And I think by us putting ourselves in that position on a day-to-day basis, it's just, we put ourselves in a better position. I put myself in a better position to understand what my clients are looking for as well from a learning perspective.
What is the best place for someone to connect with you, Joe?
I think the best way to connect with me these days, about 3 years ago, I started writing a weekly blog post called Sunday Morning Joe, where I explore ideas behind improving performance, overcoming challenge, and aligning with purpose. It is something that I just started to write for myself. I still write for myself, but I shared it with a few people when I left my job at USA Canoe Kayak, and that was 3 years ago. And today it's read by thousands of people, and it is something I enjoy doing. So Sunday Morning Joe is a great way to connect. People can get access to that for free. It's a free newsletter on my website at joejacobi.com.
Jacobi, love it. It's fascinating you're talking, and I'm thinking, my apologies for the silence, but I was just thinking, in canoeing, it's like a fast set to the life model. And that being said, I mean, you're constantly switching to, even though you're in a different place, right? Just like you moving to Spain, like you're in the water, it's switching, and you yourself need to switch, right? You need to repurpose, if you would, realign, but it's happening in seconds, if not milliseconds.
I think we all need this. I mean, I think we are all looking for certain kinds of metaphors to figure out how we are approaching our lives and how we're kind of making the most of our opportunity here, our time here. I have found the river to be one of the best representations of life. This idea that we are in a moving, stronger, more powerful force around us. And it's kind of our job to figure out how to align with that force, how to fight less with that force. And what I've learned in 40 years of paddling whitewater rivers is that it's never about getting to the destination. It's about having a mindset of transition in front of you all the time. The river is just always changing, and life is always changing. And this idea that if we just get to this point or get to that point, things will settle down and be okay, it never works like that. And I think that the more that we can adjust to that mindset of transition, the better we're able to respond to that and ultimately be happier with that idea of uncertainty.
Yeah, definitely a deep conversation. I'm loving it. The model of life, even if you're remaining calm at some point, but definitely the external forces are the same, right?
They are. I mean, if you think about, we are in our own canoes and kayaks, and there's these moving set of whitewater rapids. Sometimes the water is a little stronger, sometimes the water is a little more calm. They all require different kinds of mindsets for us to navigate what's in front of us. And then even as you look closer at the complicated and complex river currents of life and the rocks that we have to encounter, I think one of the things that we see is that people see a rock and they say, oh no, a rock, I need to avoid it. The rock could hurt me. But these rocks kind of represent our obstacles. And I've always found that I'm happier when I'm moving at my rocks. I'm moving at my obstacles where I can actually confront them, learn something. Yes, maybe there's a little bit more risk involved in that. But I think that's the path to kind of living a more, at least for me, I found living a more fulfilled and adventurous life.
Yeah, it's intriguing. In order to pass the thing that is generating fear, you have to reach face to face with it, right? Standing back and looking at it and doing the dance where you're mirror dancing really calls for a life that can cause stagnation.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Well, Joe, we've definitely blown past our first two segments. Well, let's switch gears for a moment now. Amazing audience, we are live again with Joe Jacobi. Joe has definitely done some amazing things, being the Olympic Gold Medalist, right, of canoeing, right?
Yes, sir.
Just amazing stuff. Well, Joe, let's switch gears, as I said. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Joe, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Well, I would say my earliest childhood memory. Well, I was raised in a family I have 4 brothers, 3 older, 1 younger. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. I think when you ask me that question, maybe the first thing that comes to mind is just probably the time with my family, being at the dinner table when everybody was there and all 5 brothers, mom, dad, and just all together in the same place, and just kind of the spirited conversation and kind of being raised with a lot of boys in the house. That's probably what kind of comes to mind first. It's not like a specific memory, but more of just a general feeling of everyone being in the home at the same time.
Around what age did you get that feeling? About how old do you think you were?
I was a couple of years old. I would say 3-4 years old, perhaps, maybe closer to 4. And it's definitely an early memory.
Why do you think this memory in particular is so clear?
I'm not sure. I think just you think about all the influences that kind of help put you on the course of where you are today, whether those are, I think, positive things that really help shape who you are, or even conflicts and struggles that came up that you had to overcome at a young age to really figure things out that help set you where you are? I think.
Well, if I had to give my interpretation to the thought picture, I would add to what you've already said that it's definitely a model of the rising currents, right, that do occur. You're growing up as a child with your brothers. Wow, like I grew up with cousins around, and believe me,
Right.
the currents were never the same. So
Always changing.
it's always changing. You too, always changing and needing to realign. And it's fascinating how that model of lifestyle has really gotten you to the river, right? The river of life, if you would, to battle those currents. Or as you said, to really understand what it is and readjust accordingly.
Absolutely. We have that opportunity every day. I think the way I like to think about it, I mean, literally, as I sit here and I'm talking to you, I'm 50 meters from the 1992 Olympic Whitewater race course. And I think a lot of people think about the goal, the finish line. What would it feel like to cross the finish line and be in first place? I have found that it just doesn't do a lot of good to think about the finish line. I think every day that we wake up healthy, we have an opportunity to put ourselves on the start line, not the finish line, but the start line, where we have complete control of what we do. We can make very clear and present decisions about what's in front of us. And that's kind of one of my big ideas in life, is that these start lines are far more important than the finish lines. We'll get to the finish lines when we're supposed to cross the finish line, but the start line is really what puts us kind of in control of the choices that we can affect and the things that we can create day to day.
If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I would say the early, some of the early U2.
Yeah, what's one song?
Stick stuff. Bloody Sunday was a good one. That was a pretty cool song. And I know it was a little bit later, but the Joshua Tree album, some of the music on that was, and some of that was done. Some of the music on Joshua Tree was from earlier U2 stuff as well. So where the streets have no name, it's another good one.
Well, it's really fascinating how these things connect. I love to connect things. Ooh, I love it. I mean, like where you are right now, the streets have no name, right?
Well,
there's the name there, but to you it means absolutely nothing sometimes, right?
I am in the position of learning a new language right now, learning Spanish, and the streets do have a name, but I might as well not know them because I'm not familiar with what they mean or what they're called just yet.
You know what's amazing too, Joe, if I could add as well, I would say even in the river, right, where the streets have no name, right?
Well, it's actually a really profound thought there, is that I think more than a path through the river, what you're really looking for is a connection to the flow.
Wow.
And I think that it's a really a very important distinction to make, is that I think sometimes we do get very caught up in choosing the exact right route. And a lot of times, I think when we put ourselves in a state of flow and we're really working with the current around us, good things happen. And I think putting ourselves in the position to trust that those good things happen is important.
I love it. So we just named the street, amazing audience. It's named Flow.
Okay, there you go.
There we go.
A street called Flow.
A stream called Flow. Sounds like a great book cover title, right? A stream called Flow. Well,
I like that.
You're welcome. It's yours. Joe, we have arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to go pretty quickly here. Joe, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Boy, I would say, I don't know if I would say pass on my skills to, but certainly people that I enjoy sharing and putting them in a position to learn in their own way from what I've done. Yes.
Are you married?
I am married to my wife, Lisa. We just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary.
Wow, congratulations. Now, you said you
Thank
have
you.
2 children, right?
One child.
You moved with your 16-year-old daughter. Right.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
My apologies. All right. Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, I don't.
How about 3 hours a week?
No, I don't.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
I would probably say less than 8 hours. I do a lot of writing, and also while I'm learning Spanish, I'm using an app for that. But probably less than 8 hours of screen time a day. Yes.
Joe, after having 1,001 conversations in 3 months, I came up with a workbook, and it's called Yours, and it stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. As you journey into that workbook, you go to the aspect of yours, your own unique real statement, your mission. If you had to share with us, Joe, your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who Joe Jacobi is, what would you say that is?
I would say that statement is less is more.
I love it. Hey, Joe, this was a great pleasure, my friend. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Hey, I just want to say thank you to you and your quest and the conversations you're having and the learning that you're doing and the way you're sharing that learning with all of us. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Congratulations, my friend.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that tremendously. Joe Jacobi, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.